morning, and welcome to the 40th annual presentation of the Judy Lopez Memorial Award for Children's Literature. Thank you for joining us for this virtual celebration of the prestigious National Award. I'm Pam Muñoz Ryan, author of over 40 books for children and young adults, including Echo, the New York Times bestseller, winner of the Kirkus Prize, and a Newbery Honor Book. My most recent title, published in May, is called El Niño. It is folklore, weather science, the sport of swimming, and the intersection of a mythological and a contemporary world. I received the 2001 Judy Lopez Medal for my book Esperanza Rising, which is celebrating 25 years in print this fall. The story parallels my grandmother's immigration from Mexico to California in the 1930s. I was honored to have my book recognized and for the light it shined on the immigrant experience. I'm excited to be part of this year's very special 40th anniversary event, celebrating authors Gennifer Choldenko, Aida Salazar, and Clare LeZotte, and Terese. The stories this year are about change, both good and bad, from circumstances forcing adult decisions onto young shoulders, to finding support as a boy becoming a man while experiencing the extremes of first love, to being seen, heard, and believed no matter the syntax, and to becoming the catalyst of a movement for change, which leads to safety, belonging, and love. During this ceremony, we'll get a sneak peek into the winning authors' writing processes, their favorite spots, family histories, and other insights. You are in for a treat. Before we get started, we want to thank the selection committee for their time and consideration. Every year, the committee reads the many nominated books, then meets and selects the best of the best literature in the middle grade category, published by a U.S. citizen in the year prior. Thank you, selection committee. Now let's start the show with a look back at the legacy of Judy Lopez and the history of the Women's National Book Association.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 40th annual presentation of the Judy Lopez Memorial Award for Children's Literature. I'm Elise Marie Collins, President of the Women's National Book Association. Before we get started, you can follow us on social media at Judy Lopez Award and use the hashtag Judy Lopez Memorial Award 2025 to stay connected for news about this award. The Women's National Book Association was founded in 1917, 3 years before women in the United States had the right to vote. It all began when women working in the book trade gathered to participate in a major suffragist march on New York's Fifth Avenue. Inspired by that moment, they continued to meet, and within weeks, more than 35 women from the publishing and book-selling world came together in New York to form the WNBA. From the start, WNBA's founders knew that books had power and that by joining forces they could gain strength, relevance, and a seat at the table. This year, WNBA's annual meeting was held in New York, where it all began, very close to where these women marched. I could feel the energy of those early women who fought for their rights to sell books. More than a century later, WNBA carries that mission forward, creating community, supporting women's careers in the book industry, and amplifying voices, especially those from marginalized communities. We take our work seriously, whether we're librarians, booksellers, poets, authors, publishers, agents, and many more. Together, we use the power of books to lift voices that might otherwise be silenced. And today, in that same spirit, we gather to honor another remarkable bookseller, Judy Lopez. I would like to start by telling you a little bit about Judy Lopez and the history of this award. Judy, as I said, was a bookseller. She worked for many different bookstores, Book Soup. She worked for the California State University bookstore. She worked for Random House, and she was also one of the founders of the Los Angeles chapter of the Women's National Book Association. Judy recognized the need to develop a child's love of literature, especially between the age of 9 and 12 years old. And after she passed in 1985, her family wished to honor her memory by starting the Judy Lopez Foundation to support the Judy Lopez Memorial Award. The award is given yearly to a book published in the United States during the preceding year and was written for ages 9 through 12. The award-winning title receives a specially engraved bronze medal designed by sculptor Alex Shigin. Up to 3 honor titles are also selected. So now, a big welcome and thank you all for joining us for the Judy Lopez Memorial Award 40th anniversary. That's a big one. Thank you so much and welcome everyone. We're so happy that you are here with us.
Middle school was a bust for me. I was awkward, shy, and not cool. It's a time that I don't ever want to go back to. Until I read Free Period by Terese. We meet Helen, who is the brains in this book. She is highly gifted in math, so that makes her logical, organized, and the cautious one. We have Gracie, who is artsy, chaotic, and impulsive. The creative one, who is always coming up with some delicious pastries that in my mind are culinary masterpieces. If I had friends like Helen and Gracie, funny, smart, loyal to a fault, and just all around cool in my book, I don't think I would have minded middle school as much. Helen and Gracie are best friends. They are pulling pranks left and right, and everything is going swimmingly until they pull a prank that gets them in deep trouble. They are forced to join a club to stay out of trouble, and they choose to join the Community Action Club, which unfortunately for Helen is run by her mortal enemy, Madison. They don't think they will get anything out of it, but are surprised when they are into the idea of period equity and getting pads and tampons into the school bathrooms so kids don't miss classes because of their periods. There is only one true fault in this friendship. These two always push themselves to the extreme when pulling pranks, and when they are interested in something, they go all out. They are passionate about period equity, and they go a little too far at one of the board meetings, and this has them second-guessing themselves. Add to that they are also going through friendship changes, drama with their parents, and boy problems. So much happens in middle school, but there is no other story I would want to read about it than this one. The committee was impressed and in stitches with Free Period. We really enjoyed Helen and Gracie's story and seeing them go through their journey with fearlessness and humor. Middle school can be tough, but Helen and Gracie make it seem like a fun ride, and a ride I would happily do again if they were going to be there by my side. The committee is proud to name Free Period by Terese a 2025 Judy Lopez Memorial Honor Book.
Hi, I'm Terese, the author of Free Period, a middle grade comedy about friendship and period equity, where a couple of chaos monsters fight to get maxi pads in all school bathrooms for all students who menstruate. I wrote this story as a fun way to talk about periods, because they had caused me so much shame and pain as a child, and we are just not going to live like that anymore. We deserve laugh out loud funny stories about tough issues at all stages of our lives, and I am so grateful that I get to write them for children. Thank you so much to the committee for naming Free Period a Judy Lopez Memorial Award honor book. It is a dream come true to see my writing on the same list as books from Gennifer, Aida, and Clare. I hope that this award helps even more young readers find their way to this story of health equity and human rights. I am grateful for all that the Women's National Book Association does to promote literacy and fun with books for children. You show us a path of hope and perseverance by championing stories for tweens at this critical time in their lives when we know that literature has the power to bring people together. I also extend my thanks to my publisher Scholastic and to all the librarians, teachers, booksellers, and parents who have embraced this story and the crochet uterus mayhem. I am a middle grade and YA author from North Jersey. That's the part of the Garden State that's right outside of New York City. If you ever come visit here, you'll find that we have the best pizza, bagels, music, and malls. And we love telling a good story. That's exactly how I want my writing to feel. Like your best friend just burst through the door, plopped down at the kitchen table across from you, and said, "You are not gonna believe what happened today." Everybody is welcome in the story of Free Period, whether you'll ever menstruate or not, because our entire community is harmed if even one student is missing class because they don't have access to the period care they need. This movement to get maxi pads in bathrooms at schools where children need them is one of the greatest examples of youth-led action in this country's history. I hope that reading this book is a reminder to all kids out there that you don't need any fancy or formal training to make your voice heard. You don't need to wait until you're a grown-up to create change. You don't have to have perfect grades or a parent on the PTA. There is only one thing that you need to make your voice heard, and that is to care. Because advocacy is for everybody who cares. So whether you crochet uteruses like Isabella does in this book, or make tan pretzels like Gracie, calculate mean math like Helen, or construct perfect arguments like Madison, I hope you'll use whatever you already love to do in life to make your voice heard about an issue that you care about. And remember that you already have what you need inside of you to fight for a more equitable future. Thank you so much to the committee, to the association, and to everyone watching today. Bye-bye.
Do you understand me? This is Effie's problem in Clare LeZotte's book, Dear Run Home. It's not that Effie is deaf, but that no one in her family speaks her first language, ASL, American Sign Language. Life is difficult for Effie. She and her older sister, who had been living with their mother and stepfather, are sent to live with their father in a rural area. She's falling behind in school, a fact not helped by the recent pandemic lockdown. She worries about the deer that live in the area, who are rapidly losing habitat due to development. Effie recognizes their vulnerability, which is mirrored in her own life's insecurity and secrets. Effie's interpreter, Miss Kathy, sees Effie, sees the struggles, and chooses to intervene. What Miss Kathy learns as Effie releases her fears is heartbreaking. Effie gains the strength to express herself with support from Miss Kathy, her English teacher, and a new friend. In this beautiful verse novel, Clare LeZotte sheds light on the plight of a deaf child in a hearing family who is unaccepted for who she is. This very spareness delivers maximum impact as Effie's true situation is revealed, and is what drew the committee to Effie and Miss Kathy's story, a story of survival and healing. We are so pleased to recognize Dear Run Home by Clare LeZotte as a 2025 Judy Lopez Memorial Award honor book.
My name is Clare. Sorry, I am so honored and grateful to be recognized by the Judy Lopez Memorial Award, Honor Book, Silver Medal, for my book, Dear Run Home. I so appreciate you embracing Effie and Miss Kathy's story. Okay. Effie is struggling at home and school, but she finds her voice through family, friendship, encouragement, and poetry. And I'm going to show you one of her poems that blends English and AFL grammar together. I'm deaf, flower, tall, funny. That's how I feel being recognized for this award in your 40th anniversary.
Hey, Bonnie, I have some questions for you. Why you gotta go through all these intergalactic changes? Why you gotta have hair sprouting out of my pits and chest and face? Why you gotta make my skin pimple up and feel like oozing sand? Why does my voice sound like gravel and glass being run over by a street sweeper? Why does my heart pound like a punching bag being hit over and over again whenever I'm with Camilla? Hi, I'm Melanie Pentecost, a children's librarian from the Los Angeles Public Library, and I'm honored today to introduce the Judy Lopez Honor Book, Ultraviolet by Aida Salazar. Aida Salazar is a poet, translator, and activist whose works have won multiple star reviews and awards, including a Prix Belpré honor. Ultraviolet is a novel in verse about Elios Solis's first love, about Camila, who brings out in him a bright, bombastic feeling that accompanies all the changes, both physical and emotional, that a 13-year-old boy goes through when growing up. And it's about a love whose light can explode in technicolor, but also introduce a new kind of darkness when the heartbreak hits. The mix of poeticism and honesty is what made this book stand out. Elios' struggle to bring a level of authenticity to his voice is a marvel. One chapter you'll have a debate of Takis versus Cheetos that sounds right out of a middle school cafeteria, and another will deal with his family's generational views of masculinity and mortality. This honesty cuts especially deep when Elios' first girlfriend becomes his first ex, and the novel doesn't shy away from conflicting emotions and the bitterness that can come with it. But through it all, you want to cheer for Elio to find his way and to express himself in this beautiful coming-of-age story.
Hello, my name is Aida Salazar, and I'm the author of Ultraviolet. And it's such a great privilege and an honor to receive the Judy Lopez Memorial Award honor for this book. Ultraviolet was written from a place of love for my son originally. After I had written The Moon Within, which was my first book, which dealt with puberty and coming of age and first crush, my son and his friend, after reading it and a conversation with them, we realized that they also were looking for something very similar. So I decided to write this story in honor of them, with a lot of respect and learning a lot, because I'm not a boy and I've never been through boys' puberty. And so I did it with lots of conversations with my son and his friends about what he was going through. And then, of course, when my son fell in love and got his first heartbreak, that was a big inspiration already. Ultraviolet is more than a story about puberty and first love. It's a story about masculinity and trying to find oneself within a world that is dominated by a patriarchy that really has victimized boys so much to the point where they are not able to really kind of explore their entire human emotional landscape. We tell boys not to cry. We tell boys to suck it up. And the only real kind of emotional response that we allow from boys is violence. And that violence is something that we see played out on our national stages in the wars that we're seeing, the violence that we're seeing in our streets and even in our homes. It's a crisis of epic proportions that boys are not allowed to explore this beautiful humanity that we all have. And so Ultraviolet was really an attempt to address that, to create space and create these characters that would allow that kind of growth, that kind of evolution, because when boys evolve within a patriarchy, we are all evolving, we all heal, and we all are better for it. And so it's an honor to receive this award. It's an honor that the committee and the members of the committee chose it. I'm so grateful to my editor, Tracy Mack, and to Scholastic Press for publishing it. It's a book that is brave and that is making a statement. And so I'm grateful that I have an opportunity and platform to talk about these issues within the book. And I'm grateful to the readers and so hopeful that these readers will take away from it something beautiful, something whole, and something nourishing. Thank you so much.
Mistakes are a part of life. We hope that we make fewer of them as adults after our brains have had time to mature. Most children aren't allowed to make important decisions, which is good. The fewer the decisions, the fewer the mistakes. But Hank Hooperman has had way more chances to make mistakes than an 11-year-old boy should ever have. Hank has been taking care of his toddler sister Boo for 6 days after their mother left their apartment and didn't come back. This kind of responsibility is nothing new for Hank. His mother, whom he dearly loves, is an alcoholic. But Hank has never faced problems like these. The rent is overdue, and they are about to be evicted. There are no more stray coins for Hank and Boo to find in pockets and drawers to buy snacks with at the gas station. They have eaten the last of the saltines, sprinkled with sugar. Since 3-year-old Boo isn't toilet trained, Hank has to change her diapers. Hank is an inspired problem solver. Through luck and resourcefulness, he finds a safe place for the 2 children to stay, meets a group of supportive adults, and lands in a new school with kind classmates. Hank captivates us with his intelligence, his tender protectiveness towards Boo, his talents as an artist and a basketball player, his wry sense of humor, and his invincible optimism. We wish that Hank knew that he is not the one making the mistakes he constantly laments. His well-meaning but hopeless attempts to compensate for his mother's failings hurt us as well as him. We share his despair when Hank says, "I feel like my bones have dissolved and I can no longer make anything happen." When his mother finally shows up, Hank's love for her blinds him to the truth that she cannot take care of her family. This time, he does make a mistake, a very bad one. The happy ending of The 10th Mistake of Hank Hooperman thrills us, but not because it is convenient or tidy. Gennifer Choldenko gives us an entertaining, heartwarming story, but she doesn't sugarcoat the harsh reality of a child trying to cope with abandonment. Every fragile glimmer of hope Hank feels for a normal life is shadowed by thoughts of failure. The 10th Mistake of Hank Hooperman is about mistakes, making them, confronting them, learning from them. But Hank earns his happy ending, and we rejoice with him. If Hank Hooperman can find love and support, perhaps we can too. Gennifer Choldenko, congratulations on winning and earning the 2025 Judy Lopez Memorial Award.
My name is Gennifer Choldenko, and I'm the author of The 10th Mistake of Hank Huberman. First, I'd like to thank the Judy Lopez Memorial Award Committee for all the time they devoted to picking the winners from a truly incredible crop of 2024 middle grade novels. It's quite an honor to be recognized in this way. The 10th Mistake of Hank Huberman began with a desire to write a book about a kid in foster care. I dove headfirst into memoirs of foster kids and of foster parents. I interviewed social workers who work with foster kids, child protective service workers, and foster kids who are now adults. Foster kids are fascinating to me. Both of my kids are adopted, one shortly after birth, the other at 8 months from an orphanage in China. And my sister was in a foster care-like situation. So the idea of finding homes for kids who need them is part of my DNA. Most foster children are foster children not because of their own challenges, but because of the challenges their parents face. But it's not clear they know that. I've always liked to write while I research and research while I write. But the most important thing for me is finding some scrappy piece of myself in the book. I had 8 chapters written about a girl in foster care when I happened upon a manual for foster parents, which had a chapter on parentification. The example paragraph was about a boy who loved soccer but would not go out to play because he could not leave his baby sister's side. Something about that boy reminded me vividly and viscerally of my big brother. It was my big brother who taught me how to zip my jacket. When I ran away, he was the one who discovered I was gone and came looking for me. When I was 6 and I climbed to the tip-top branches of the tree by the road, then froze, too terrified to come down, it was my brother who talked me down, branch by branch. When I went to kindergarten, it was my brother who walked me in. When I went to college, he was the one who moved me into my dorm room. As soon as I read that chapter on parentification, I dumped the 8 chapters I'd written, and sold, I might add, and began The 10th Mistake of Hank Huberman. Hank Huberman, like my big brother, Gray Johnson, is a kind kid and a good student. He likes basketball and makes friends easily. He loves his little sister, Boo, and has a close and complicated relationship with his mother. My brother's mission was to twist himself up as tightly as shoelaces in the dryer to be the child our mom would love, which was way more difficult than you could imagine, because along with significant mental health challenges, our mom was an alcoholic. My parents were both big drinkers. My father died of alcoholism when I was a teenager. Sometimes the most powerful themes come not from craft, but from an author's beliefs that leak through to the page. In The 10th Mistake of Hank Huberman, school is a refuge for Hank, as it was for me. Many people reach out to Hank. My best friend, Jerry Sandoval's father, Ray Sandoval, was my inspiration for the big-hearted Ray Delgado, because that family, the Sandoval family, was so kind to me. There's no doubt The 10th Mistake of Hank Huberman tackles difficult subjects, but it's also a story about big-hearted people who went out of their way to help 2 kids in trouble. And the reason that comes through so clearly in this book is because that was what happened to me. I am proud to have written The 10th Mistake of Hank Huberman, and so incredibly proud that the book won the Judy Lopez. Thank you.
Congratulations, Gennifer, and congrats to all the extraordinary winners of this year's Judy Lopez Memorial Award for Children's Literature. We want to thank again the publishers and the selection committee. You can find more information about the authors at judylopezaward.org, where there's a link where you can purchase books. It was an honor being your host. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next year.